This is a tough place to come because my brother's baby was dumped here like she was a piece of trash, like she didn't matter. And it hurts that, you know, somebody hated her, disliked her that much to just do what they did to her. And my brother can't be here, so my sisters and I are speaking up on his behalf. We have to tell her story. We have to make sure that her story doesn't die down.
Let's go a little closer. Show me if you could, from what we knew back on February 14th, you had not been here yet, but describe to me what was here at that time from what you know now. Piecing it together as far as where her remains were, what you were hearing at that time.
I really didn't know anything at that time. It was my sisters that got a hold of me and told me about it. And my brother works just on the other side of the reservation, and he kind of told me about this area as well. He's a detective on the other side of the reservation.
You got a phone call? What happened that day?
My sister gave me a couple of calls, gave me updates, let me know what was going on with my niece and everything. And I didn't know what to think. I didn't know how to feel. It was just shock. I was shocked that someone could do that to her.
What was your sister saying? I know it probably happened in little increments, but and maybe a blur for you now, but what do you remember her saying that was just...
I remember it clear as day. She was telling me that our niece had been found, and that to check the news, the way she was found, it was hard for her to describe it. And after a while, she gained her composure, and she told me how she was found. And she said she had made other calls to my dad and to other relatives to let them know what had happened to our niece.
This is very sinister. We're just off the road here, the 60s there, and you obviously have to turn in here, and I don't know how long it took them to find her, but to be basically dismembered remains, I know it's hard to hear, but just all the theories that have gone through your mind, thinking what could have happened from point A, Mesa, to here, point B.
It was always troubling to me because the reservation is just down the road, and from going like maybe 80, 90 miles down the road, then making her way about 40 miles from the reservation. If you cut straight that way, maybe less, 10 miles. It was odd to me that she was found close to the reservation. And I tried not to guess, try not to point or lay blame to tribal members, to the locals. I just let the law enforcement do their job and come up with the answers for us. Because if you start pointing fingers everywhere, you're gonna go crazy. You're gonna lose your mind. You can see everybody as the potential people that did this to her. So I tried to just keep a clear mind and let the investigators do their job.
Have you lost any hope in the investigation?
There are times we do lose hope, and that's when people like you come through. It reminds us that people are still interested in her case. Still reminds us that there are people that are still interested in her case and helping find her killers. And that's what we need. We need people to understand that her killers haven't been found. They're still out there. They may hurt someone else again. And the only way to make sure our communities are safe is to catch whoever did this. And news people like you, that helps us in putting pressure on law enforcement and the communities to remind them that there's still killers out there.
This is someone who all her life had grown up on tribal land, right?
Around family, yes.
And had behavioral health issues and was going through, her own struggles while living in Mesa. I mean, can you imagine just, I think it took how long for your side of the family to learn she was even in a group home?
When I say everybody fell there, it includes our side of the family, just everybody, the whole system. And I go back, were policies and procedures followed with our tribe off the reservation? Where can we fix things? Because we can't let this happen again, not to anybody.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you were at that joint legislative committee hearing, oversight of DCS, May 14th. You spoke to the chair, to the committee. From what we understand, Emily was in tribal custody and placed in a DCS licensed home. So in no way was she actually in DCS custody. She just happened, it's almost like crossing the threshold or being in the DCS world, but her case wasn't with them. She was still assigned to a tribal caseworker, right?
Yes.
How does that, I don't know if that's normal, and you may have no experience in this, but what did you gather from that meeting and learning about kind of where there is a disconnect?
I think they hit it on the head when they said it's the lack of communication, and that we kind of somewhat work in silos. Our tribe's social services, the states, and that we just needed to find where the issues were and to make sure this don't happen again. And when they passed Emily's law, that's where it hit me. The word missing and runaway. And Globe, I think, had the perfect response when they said, we classify everybody as missing. We don't classify them as runaways. And I think that's the way it should have been written, Emily's law. That if anyone under 18 goes missing, then instead of saying they ran away, you classify them as missing.
It's under 65 and over 18, or kind of the in-between, right? It's young adults all the way to adults. Once they go missing, people are notified. What is that? You hit it on the head too, missing runaway. Why does that get a negative connotation?
When they say runaway, the response isn't heightened like the way missing is. Missing, they go all out in searching for this individual. If it's runaway, okay, let's do a police report, and maybe we'll go do an attempt to locate. But
and maybe we'll follow up later.
Yeah, they don't go all out and trying to look for her.
And then you're lost in the system.
Yeah, and that's exactly,
because of how you're labeled.
That's, I believe, what happened over there, is they classify her as a runaway, and instead of doing an all-out missing persons report, they just let it sit on the back burner until she was found here.
I'm sure you have like a large family history, a big family at that. And talking to your family members, did you ever imagine that you'd be standing here talking about this story involving your little niece?
Let alone it being a tribal member, let alone being from a different tribe, but to happen to someone as close as my niece, no, it just something that you think will never happen to anyone from our tribe. So it's crazy, it's mind-blowing, it's hard to wrap my head around it.